All right, so it is Sunday. Tomorrow is the start of a new week. But yeah, I want to go over my Bitcoin trading plans and kind of recap what has happened over the last few weeks. So since Bitcoin broke up above the 25K highs, we closed a weekly candle up here, basically a weekly bullish break of structure because that was the last lower high in the downtrend. Now we have closed above it, essentially breaking the weekly downtrend. And we've pretty much just been consolidating up above these highs since then. Over the past week, we've gotten an SFP of the lows and now an SFP of the highs. So, this SFP of the highs does show weakness in the uptrend here, at least very locally. You saw what happened when we SFP'd the lows of the downtrend. We SFP'd the, lower low of this local downtrend. We then got to move back up towards these highs. So you could say that since we've now SFP'd the highs, we may expect to move back down towards these lows. So that is something to consider, but also something to consider is that over the weekend, since the markets closed on Friday, we have gotten a move to the downside. And a lot of times, when you see a move in one direction over the weekend, when there's lots of stop losses left over from people trading the weekend, you a lot of times see price, kind of take out those stop losses, get a run for that liquidity, and also come up to fill the CME gap. The CME gap is basically once the traditional markets close on Friday, the traditional markets stop trading Bitcoin. And so when the markets open back up again on Monday, you are left with a gap in the price action on the traditional markets, and oftentimes those gaps are filled. So we may expect to move to the upside early in the week to grab liquidity from the weekend, come up and fill the CME gap. So this is definitely an area I'll be watching for confirmations. If we see move to the upside, I'll be looking for trades to be getting stopped out. Some of the shorts that built up in this area, which by the way, you can go over to Coinalyze and see that since the weekend started, which was right here, I believe, right, April 1st. So since then, we did see some shorts begin to open up. Right here, you saw CVD decreasing with open interest increasing. And basically that means that there most likely are going to be some stop losses up in this area, maybe up above this high. Yeah, basically I'd be looking for confirmations of a reaction there. I'd want to see shorts getting stopped out. I'd also maybe want to see divergences on Market Cipher, maybe money flow trending to the downside, showing signs of weakness for that move to the upside. We also did just open a new month. The monthly open is right around 28,470. And if you turn on the SVP tool, and I'll turn off the CME gap, today's POC is right around the monthly open. And so unless this shifts before the daily candle closes, then this may be an NDPOC, and it is right around the monthly open. So we'll have to wait another 3 hours to see if that NDPOC is going to confirm. But, right now we could also potentially look for a scalp from this area. And another bit of confluence to that, if I go to the 2-hour time frame, we do have an order block right up in that area. This 2-hour order block, that blue candle in between these two purple candles, and then price got a move to the downside. So this is looking like a pretty nice order block, and it's right around monthly open, right around that potential NDPOC. So I may watch that level as well. I may, look for confirmations if I see anything that gives me confidence in a rejection there. It could make for a nice scalp, but I do think that the more key level would be getting a move up towards this CME gap and getting a run on that weekend liquidity. It would also bring us up above the value area high of this larger range. So, potential scalp idea here, but I think I would rather wait for higher. And then other than that, my short ideas are still pretty much the same. I'm still watching a potential SFP of this high, and I'm still watching the untapped weekly and the previous range point of control up around 29,800-ish. So right now, those are pretty much the short ideas I'm looking at. And if that SFP of the highs is going to bring us down towards the lows, then that could present a nice opportunity to get in on a lower high. And one idea I did have was a bounce from this 24-minute order block, which we have come down to fill. In my video earlier, I talked about how I missed this first trade off the order block because my alert didn't trigger, but we have since come down to put in a lower low anyways. And I wasn't super convinced in this low, so I just didn't take that trade. But, we are getting a bounce from that order block from the golden pocket of this move. And I believe we came down below the value area low as well. If you pull the volume from this high, then yeah, we did. So it is possible that that ends up being a higher low. But also right below that 24-minute order block, we have a 6-minute order block that we did not tap yet. If you zoom in right over here, that purple candle in between the two blues, we then came up to break structure, and we came close to tapping it right here, but we did not. So I would probably be watching that as well. It is in between the golden pocket and the 7862. We could potentially SFP the lows into that 6-minute order block. So that is another level I have my eyes on. Also, you could watch the 786. This is a support resistance area, you could say, because we had support right here, resistance, some support, some resistance, resistance back here. So I think it is possible to get scalps off of some of those local levels, and maybe it ends up being a higher low. Maybe it ends up running up towards the highs. So I'd say very locally, the first long idea I'd be watching would be an SFP into that order block. We do have a 3-hour order block right below the value area low. If we're gonna, come down below this low, I guess we would be continuing this downtrend where, you could just say it's a high, a low, lower high, lower low, just kind of ignore that internal stuff. But if there are lots of stop losses down below here, it's possible that we just kind of SFP that, get a move down into that order block, quickly come back up, maybe SFP it on a higher time frame. Let's see how far of a move that would be. So yeah, we could definitely SFP that. It's only a 0.5% move. So yeah, I would be watching this order block as well. It is in between the larger golden pocket and 786, and it's a support resistance flip. We had resistance right in this area. Support over here. So I'd say pretty much this whole order block is a support resistance zone. And I am still watching the 786 down here. We also have a wick that I have marked out right over here that might have some stop losses below it. We could SFP that. That might be a scalp idea. And yeah, since we SFP'd the highs, I am still watching potentially for an SFP of the lows again. And yeah, I think those are, pretty much my support levels. Everything else is pretty much the same. I think that, if I had to give my opinion for the most likely scenario, I'd say we probably get a move up towards that CME gap, maybe even up towards these highs, grab the weekend liquidity, and then potentially get a move down to, some of these levels down here, maybe then make a run for the lows. But I do think that it is likely that we, come up to fill the CME gap, grab those stops before getting a move to the downside if we're going to. And yeah, I think that is about it for this one.